Hello, my name is Javier Gonzalez. I have beautiful hair. I'm in multiple bands, and I have the power.
Hi there, and welcome to Hav and Charles Talk Comics. I am one of your hosts, Charles Herring, and I am here with my very good friend, the man with the flan, Javier Gonzalez.
Hey, Charles, how are you?
I'm better now. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, you called me your very good friend.
I did.
Yay!
And you got confused about something else I said, which amused me.
What was it? With the very good flan, you said?
No, the man with the flan. It's a play on the man with the plan, but with flan.
Like flan the dessert?
Yes.
Okay. I just
that was
sure.
That was all. No, I was since last time you had mentioned I didn't call you my very good friend. I was playing around this week with doing some sort of long introduction of you, including that, and then having some more things. And the only thing I added to that, because I had kind of forgotten about it until just then, and the man with the flan was something that amused me, so I rolled with it, and I didn't do the whole massive intro.
Gotcha.
Because I didn't write it. It was something, it was getting longer and longer and longer, and I was like, okay, dial it back there.
I had an intro in college for a second. It just kind of built up. It was really me and my friend Dave, but it just accumulated over some years. I had long hair. I think I've told you, maybe.
Yes.
Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah, you said you were a dirty hippie.
Oh, yeah. Total grunge, man. It was so
I'm
90s.
sorry, that's true. You weren't a hippie, you were grunge.
Yeah, well.
Totally different. Different
whatever.
enough.
It accumulated, like, for some reason I got into the habit of introducing my name, like, especially to young ladies, like, pronouncing it full Spanish pronunciation. Hello, my name's Javier Gonzalez.
You killed my father for pet today.
Yeah, exactly. And then at one time we were leaving I shit you not, this was so flattering and I'm such an idiot. We were at a party, keg party at a house somewhere in Austin, and I was there with a bunch of friends. I wasn't with any young lady at the time, and we're leaving our group of like 5 or 6 of us. And this, I was going to say girl, but she was a woman. This young lady stops me on the way out. I don't know her. She touches my shoulder. She said, "Oh, are you leaving?" And I was like, "Yeah, sorry, my friends are leaving." And she was kind of pretty, if I remember right. She was like, "Oh, okay. I just wanted to tell you have beautiful hair." I was like, "Okay, bye." Yeah.
I guess it's better than you want to touch it.
Yeah, I mean, but then like half an hour later, I was thinking like,
Why didn't I
probably
get her phone
should have asked her name and
Get her phone number.
stayed.
No, just
Get her phone number.
Just say, thank you very much. Would you like to carry on this conversation via phone? Or, yo, baby, can I get them digits?
And then I was visiting my friend Dave, and he was going to Baylor at the time, and I'm getting him all grunged out. And we're after hours, we shut down a bar, and we're at a Denny's or something like at 3 or 4 in the morning. And the waitress was being really nice to us, and then she's like, "I gotta ask, are you in the band that was playing at so-and-so tonight?" And I didn't say anything. I was just like, I was going to say no. We've been drinking all night. And my buddy, without missing it, he goes, "Yeah, he was. Thank you." And then I was like, "What'd you do that for?" And he was like, "No, that's hilarious." So then, of course, I'm in multiple bands. And so, yeah, my introduction at some point. And then we love that song, Got the Power, CNC Music Factory. Anyways, so my introduction was, hello, my name's Javier Gonzalez. I have beautiful hair. I'm in multiple bands, and I have the power. That was the introduction. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. And I mean, CNC Music Factory was very grunge, so it really, I mean, just absolutely. That just solidifies your grunge bona fides.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. You're so grunge, you rocking out to CNC Music Factory. Name one other song.
Oh, no.
I don't know that anyone can.
No.
Weren't they a one-hit wonder?
Oh, God, I believe so.
That song was awesome, though.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just because it wasn't grunge doesn't mean it wasn't awesome. Charles.
I wasn't the grunge king.
Right. Or in multiple bands.
Or quite honestly, any bands.
Right.
What with not being able to play a musical instrument.
Well, hey, you got the pipes. You can always sing, baby.
I don't know that I sing that good.
Hey, you don't sell yourself short, pumpkin.
I don't consider myself short in any way.
I'm not yes-anding that.
I'm just saying I'm tall. You know I'm tall. Why do you gotta make...
Why are you pointing down in your crotch?
I'm not pointing down at my crotch. I'm standing up waving my dick at you.
Oh, okay. That's what that little thing is in the corner.
Yeah, I don't know why it's all the way over there. Anyway,
Yeah, it's weird, right?
it just does its own thing. There it is. I was about to.
Yeah, yeah. King Missile, man. Oh my God, we're getting all the references. I loved King Missile back in the day. Okay, so hey, we're doing a podcast about comic books, believe it or not.
I want to apologize. I spent the very beginning of before we got on this trying to boost Hav and I's energy before we did this, because it's Saturday morning. We're both a little rough this morning, and boy, I kind of missed the mark, but I'm glad with what we've ended up with.
There you go.
So we are going to talk, as always, about 2 comic books. And these 2 comic books are a run of Catwoman by Brubaker in the mid-aughts.
Early aughts, 2002.
Okay, 2002. So the extremely late 90s. And then we're also going to talk about a fairly recent run of Plastic Man by Gail Simone, and that is
2018.
2018. Thank you, the keeper of the stats. It's good to have a stat guy on the pod.
I'm the guy in the chair. I'm your guy in the chair.
You are my guy in the chair. You're not necessarily quick enough. I mean, have been dead multiple times from you not chiming in quick enough, but that's fine. I know you have trouble reading, but at least you write things down.
Yes, I'm good at making lists.
Just not reading them.
You're right. No.
So
I'm not a strong reader.
As per usual, we will talk about Hav's comic first. I mean, as per usual, we will talk about the comic that came out first, which is generally, it's generally Hav's comic.
The one I suggest.
Yes, the one you suggest. I do want to bring one thing up, though, and I mentioned it to Hav, and then I tweeted about it, and then right after I tweeted about it, I saw something else about it. Nathan Fillion is slated to play Guy Gardner in the new Superman movie, the Green Lantern Guy Gardner, who I have been known to make fun of for his haircut. And I made the comment to Hav immediately when that came up. I said, I hope he should have to have the haircut. And then I tweeted that. I got a picture of it. I tweeted the great James Gunn should pay honor to Guy Gardner's something by forcing Nathan Fillion to have this haircut. And then I read on Screen Crush that they are planning on having the bowl cut. And I was like, oh, that is going to be awesome.
That is, well, and you know what? It's not like Nathan Fillion, he doesn't, it's not like he has a coif of like really big hair, but he can definitely do.
Oh no, he could do the bowl. He does have a coif. He rocks the good hair. Do not sell Nathan Fillion short. Check out, if you watch him in Castle, he's always got he's got that good actor hair. It just makes you want to hold him down and shave him. Anyway, that might be a sexual thing for me.
Probably. A lot. You know what I've noticed here recently?
What's that? What?
I think pretty much everything's a sexual thing for you.
No, I think that's just how you take everything. So maybe this is yeah, you're seeing what you want to see in me.
No, I'm not projecting here. Everything is like, and then of course your penis is involved. Let's just say that.
I'm going to say most of the time you bring up my penis.
I beg to differ, sir.
And I mean, I have no facts to back that up. I just feel more comfortable blaming you for things.
Right. It's not my fault. I'm rocking the Winnie the Pooh here in the supermarket, sir. My friend Javier told me it was okay.
Now settle down. You're the one that's always talking about that. You bring that up on multiple occasions.
I do. For some reason, I like the cartoon characters that are naked from the waist down because I think it's just funny. Like they have the wherewithal to wear a shirt.
That's.
But hey, we're not going to bother with pants.
Hold on. The reason why you're saying you think it's quote funny is that it makes you feel funny, doesn't it?
Nice try. No, I'm not going to yes and that. No, I think I remember thinking that when I was like, why do they just wear shirts and nobody wears pants? Donald Duck. Although, you know what? Mickey Mouse just wears the trunks.
Yeah,
that's topless.
That's because he has a huge mouse dick.
I'm sure somebody's done that.
There was just no way. There was no way to hide it in the fur. It's just it would.
That's why he's in charge.
That's not.
You know what? He's got that big dick energy.
That's why he's got that high squeaky voice. Pulls down on the vocal cords.
Throws everybody off too.
Yes.
No, so don't meet your heroes kind of thing. Look, I'm gonna.
I don't know where that's going.
I'm going back to Nathan Fillion.
Oh, okay.
So a couple things, unfortunately, look, it's a whole thing about knowing too much about artists, actors, creators, musicians. Apparently, you brought up Castle, and we watched Castle the first season or two, And then, like most things, we just bowed out because it was a procedural, and we were just. I know there were ongoing storylines I heard, and it was good. It ran forever, right?
Yes.
For some reason, clickbait, whatever, I clicked on something, and maybe you've read this. Apparently, he treated his co-star like utter dog shit. Just like big-timed her. Like, there was... And to a person that was interviewed, it was him being a bad,
Yes.
star.
I did. I have heard that, yes.
And I was so disappointed
Yeah.
to hear that about him for some reason. And then I remember, I think we've talked about this maybe, came to a Comic-Con here in Dallas, and... He was out the night before, apparently holding court at a bar at the hotel, shut it down, and then couldn't make his thing the next day because he was not feeling well.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't.
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know. I'm not trying to poo-poo on him. I was really disappointed to hear that.
Yeah.
That he was big timing and apparently like would make her cry. Not make her cry, but it was so mean that she would be upset. And it made other people upset on the set. I don't know if that was something new or if that's going back to Firefly, but it was disappointing to hear.
I doubt it went back to Firefly because nothing has come out negative about him. And I don't think Joss Whedon would let another man treat other people like shit. That was his job.
Right. I know. I've heard about that too. Speaking of, okay. As Charles mentioned, I did recommend Catwoman 2002. Had you read it before?
I had not. I can't tell. I've read a lot of those that Catwoman stuff. I don't think I read that one. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I didn't. I've read some similar stuff, but I don't remember that at all.
I usually start with this, so it is just not because I planned it, but did you like it?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
Go ahead.
It was you found something right in my wheelhouse. It was incredibly noir. I mean, everything about it, and most Catwoman stuff is. It really leans into the darker, but not. It's dark because that's the comic, not dark because, hey, we want to make it dark. It's supposed to be dark. It's not a let's make it dark because they made a Batman movie that was dark, so now everything has to be fucking dark. As we prove that not even everything has to be dark with a kind of a noir era-ish comic that we also read in Plastic Man. You want to compare and contrast the two. They have the same feel in some ways, but one's played for humor and one's played for the seriousness with which it was made, what it needed to be. Because let's be honest, Catwoman has a pretty rough backstory as they talk about. I mean, there's none of this. Right. She was a secretary bullshit. She was an orphan, had a sister. They were both whores. I'm sorry, they both sold themselves on the street. She started to steal things. She got her sister out of that. She rose herself up, unfortunately through crime, but she did not have a choice. You just got to respect that.
Dark, speaking of, you mentioned Plastic Man, but also like X Factor, noir, but a lot of laughs, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Catwoman, not so much. Now, there were some, not really, but a few humorous parts, but no, it is dark and gritty.
Yeah, even the darkest times have something to laugh at, but no, there was not, especially when you talk about the underlying themes, the arc with what turned out to be Clayface accidentally murdering prostitutes, and not really knowing he was Clayface either, because doesn't know what's going on with that. If I have one problem with it, it was really long and it was weirdly segmented in some ways because they had one arc and then they had part of that same arc in a completely different story from Slam Bradley's, which I liked seeing Sam Bradley. It's Slam Bradley, right?
Yes, it is Slam Bradley because I was thinking of oh my God, Abraham Slam.
Abraham Slam. Well, that's where they
Black
got
Hammer.
Yes. I was thank you. I was trying to remember that name. I was like, man, that is so perfect. Because Slam Bradley is kind of Abraham Slam. I mean, neither one of them have powers. They just beat people up, and they get off on it. Because, boy, Slam Bradley seems to get off on beating people up and getting his ass kicked. So he's got this sadomasochistic thing all in one.
Yes, he is a great character. There was a lot in it. I hadn't picked this up since I first read it back in the early 2000s. So I knew it was, when I suggested it, I just remember liking it. I didn't remember how crime noir it was. And then when I started reading it, I was like, oh, good. I'm pretty sure Charles is going to totally dig this. Yeah, it was good. There was a lot going on in so you were talking about how it was segmented. The Catwoman, Ed Brubaker, Darwyn Cooke, Mike Allred introduction to Catwoman after she's dead but not dead. That started, if you looked at the notes, and that's why I was so confused. I was like, why is this so long? In 4 issues, it was the backstory of Detective Comics. because Detective Comics, maybe to this day, I haven't read Detective Comics in forever. It usually has a lead story and then a backup story. And it was the backup story in Detective Comics for 4 issues. And then they spun it out into its own series with Ed Brubaker still writing it. And I think Darwyn Cooke and Mike Allred hang on as artists for a few issues. And then the artists changed. Worth noting, I think the creative team, especially the original creative team, those are all now well-regarded all-stars. And I know I say the great a lot, but seriously, Ed Brubaker, great. Darwyn Cooke, unfortunately no longer with us, passed away way too young. You maybe know him from New Frontier. He did that for DC. No, you've never read New Frontier? Ooh. And then Mike Allred, although I think he was inking Darwyn Cooke, in his own right has a very distinctive art style. He most recently, I know, was doing a Silver Surfer run a few years back that was well received, and I think was also either co-plotting it or writing it. So there's all that. I just wanted to mention the creative team there.
Yeah.
Then you get into... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that first arc was really good because you got some of Catwoman's backstory that was probably made up purely for this when she's working with a OG cat burglar who she at one point when she was young slept with, and then he murdered. He kills people. He ain't a good dude. I mean, he's this kid, but he managed to operate in Gotham because he always left the mob alone because the mob runs Gotham completely.
Yeah.
The mob in Gotham is what the mob used to think of itself in New York back in the 30s and the 40s. It just absolutely. Yes. And in some ways it was. They owned all the cops and they could get away with almost anything.
The piers,
Yes. They
cargo
ran
coming
stuff.
in.
Yeah. They ran stuff. So she convinces him in that to rob a bunch of uncut diamonds or cut diamonds. I think they were cut diamonds.
Uncut.
No,
uncut.
They called them uncut, but then when they show them, those are cut diamonds. Uncut diamonds are not these pretty little things that they had a whole handful of. But they don't draw well. It's always one of those things in movies and stuff when they go, they're stealing uncut diamonds, and then they have all these fake real looking diamonds, what we think of as diamonds, in a bag. It's like, guys, that's not what that means.
Yeah, because uncut diamonds can kind of look like almost like salt rock, or I mean, it's just white, maybe opaque, but not
gravel.
Shiny.
It can look like gravel. I mean, it's just from I don't know exactly, but they do not look like what they drew. But you can't do that. You can't do that.
Not for the comic book. Uncut diamonds too. I guess cut diamonds, you can kind of trace it. You can tell how they're cut, and a person that cut them can say, "No, I did that," or "I didn't do that." Is that why it's a big deal? Do you know? I'm not a crime boss aficionado.
Neither am I. I don't think that's exactly what it is because they all. I don't know if there's a particular style that certain cutters use. I do know that there is throughout hundreds of years the styles that they cut diamonds in have changed. So cutting diamonds now will look different than they were cutting diamonds 70 years ago. So you can tell the age of a diamond a lot of the time. Obviously not by the diamond itself because they're all pretty much really old, but the cut of them will say when they were cut. They also nowadays imprint on a diamond. They etch things on them. And
like
so
a maker's mark or something?
Exactly. So, or a number so that way you can literally track a particular diamond.
Interesting.
Yeah. So an uncut diamond obviously wouldn't have that because it's part of the cutting process. At least
I remember.
At least I believe it is. This is not something. This is just random reading about other things that talk about diamond theft and all the mystery stuff I have. So, as the writers of these books say, hey, any mistakes are mine. But I got good advice on writing this, but any mistakes are mine. So look, any of the mistakes I'm here are mine because I may be reading from bad material. I may be misunderstanding it, but that's what I think it is.
I remember reading on one of my science pages, or on a science page article years ago when there was a big rush when commercial space travel was kind of really getting up and running, that people wanted to go to the asteroid belt, and that they were talking about, look, there are asteroids full of gold, there are asteroids full of silicon, there's asteroids full of diamonds.
Yes.
But then the author also pointed out, while that's a good idea, if we get an asteroid the size of a football field or bigger, a stadium of just made of diamonds, and bring it back here and flood the market, that's going to hurt the price of diamonds. Supply and demand.
Yeah.
They were cautioning like, hey, be careful what you wish for. If you bring it in, it was interesting.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's actually more realistic with gold because you can crush the gold market. The only reason diamonds are worth anything is because the consortium of De Beers has a monopoly mostly on a lot of the diamond mines, and they only let out enough because diamonds are incredibly common in the world.
Huh.
Yes.
Well, and it's also, I mean, look, anything's worth whatever anybody's willing to pay for it, but
Absolutely.
it's also a rock. I mean,
It is. And
yeah.
and we can create them. So they've started making them for uses. People,
Especially commercial, because diamonds
yeah,
have, like, not
massive
for aesthetics.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they are incredibly hard substances, and they're very useful they're more useful for industrial purposes. I've never gotten oh my gosh, it's diamond. I've seen diamonds. They don't impress me. I don't get it. Now rubies and emeralds and things like that with the color and those I kind of get. I just don't get diamonds.
Yeah, it's a rock.
Yes, they're all that is
I like
correct.
I prefer the different, what?
Nothing. Go ahead. I was saying yes, they're all rocks.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
So she meets, his name is Stark. Did you say his name?
No.
The old timer?
No.
Stark is the guy that she hooks up with at the beginning of her career in being a bad guy, or being
she starts
thief.
really being a thief, because she was dabbling in it. She was not Catwoman left. We find out later that her betrayal was she becomes Catwoman and runs off with the diamonds, leaving him holding the bag with the mob. So he's no longer able to operate in Gotham. And he probably wants to kill her over that, but he also has a soft spot for her, so he doesn't.
He loves her.
I don't know if love is the right
As much
word,
as he
because
can.
a sociopath like that tends to not love that much. But yeah, sure, we'll go with love.
Okay. Thanks for giving me throwing me that bone.
Well, some people are incapable of love.
A lady named Chantel, does she approach Swifty or does she approach Selena directly? The girlfriend to the Falcone.
I think she
guy.
approaches. She approaches is Swifty the fence.
Yeah, the pawn shop guy.
Yes, the fence. She approaches the fence, and he comes to Selena, and it's all about it's a money train robbery. It's the whole basis of
It's a
this.
train heist.
No, it's a money train.
It's a train heist.
It's a money train heist.
Money.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a money train. The mob is running their money up to Canada to buy the heroin, and they want to rob it. And Chantel is a prostitute, and she is the Falcone's son's prostitute. I mean, she's paid to be his girlfriend.
I was going to say she's full time.
Yeah, she's a full-time, and she has a mom and kids that she's looking out for. She does not like her job. She talks about, and you know what? I understand that. I have no judgment for sex workers. Sometimes you have to do things. Sometimes you might want to do things, but in some situations like hers, she needs to take care of her daughter and her family. She lives in Gotham, and they ain't a lot of choices. Because all the billionaire there wants to do is beat up on criminals.
Yeah, and dress up at night as a bat.
Yes, if that ain't a fetish, I don't know what is.
Every time I just said that, I thought of the Pete Holmes Batman college humor sketches that I've sent you. I dress as a bat. Anyways, sorry. Those always crack me up. If anybody cares and is listening, do yourself a favor. YouTube Pete Holmes Batman. I think it was College Humor, but he just has a slew of those Batman sketches that are hilarious. Okay, sorry. That's it. It's been a while. Now, you know what? After we're done with this, I'm gonna go rewatch some of those.
Okay.
Because they are funny. So they get the heist together. They bring in this guy Jeff, Hispanic guy. I pick up later.
Yeah.
The young guy is kind of a tech guy. Yeah. Can make stuff.
Oh yeah, he's definitely the tech guy of the assembling the team
Equipment.
Because they do the Ocean's 11
high-speed rail.
assembling the team.
Yes.
I mean, it is a pure heist. It's a heist comic. And so then they kind of get found out after they put it together.
Well, and as soon as, I hadn't read this in forever, but as soon as this is early 2002, I know emails, obviously a thing back then, but she sends an email, Chantel sends an email to Selena from Falcone's computer. And then later on, Falcone's talking to her and says, hey, I got my cousin in here. He's kind of a computer whiz to make sure nothing, no taps. And he looked at my computer, and he finds out that she's the one that sent it. And he kills her eventually, beats her to death.
In fairness, in 2002, most of us didn't have any idea of security, computer security, how to take care of passwords, why we needed passwords, how to clear the cache, all sorts of things.
True. Absolutely true.
Now,
I don't think
I would have known enough not to send an email from somebody else's email address and not think it could be found, because you can go in and delete the sent file.
right.
And depending on how good, how deep he looked, my guess is he just opened up the sent things and looked at that and went, wait, why did you send an email about this? So why does it say catwoman.aol at AOL.com? Why are you emailing catwoman at AOL.com?
I don't think I had even home internet, or if I did, it was dial-up.
2002, really? I had internet. Well, I worked from
It was
home.
it was dial-up. Did you have? I'm sure it wasn't it all dial-up back then.
No, 2000. By 2002, I had it coming in. No, I was working from home, and I had switched from dial-up to. I'm pretty sure I had switched to whatever they called it. That next step. It was just a dedicated line split off from my phone.
DSL or
Yes,
something.
DSL. I think it was DSL. Wow, we're
Okay.
already forgetting, or at least I am, all of the different tech iterations that we just burned through. I say we burned through, but yeah, we burned through a lot. I mean, I'm doing this whole thing at my house off a 5G T-Mobile modem. T-Mobile, it's fast as shit, y'all. That is a free plug. I really love my T-Mobile 5G, and not everybody can get it, unfortunately, yet. But good Lord, this.
There's Lucy.
And Lucy is pissed off about that, and I feel you, Lucy. It kind of sucks.
She's pissed off because because we were having issues with AT&T Uverse.
Yes.
For a while there, where the internet was just going out inexplicably for no reason. And we don't live a couple miles away, and that wireless 5G T-Mobile available in your area. Not for me.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
last I checked, anyway.
Yeah, no, they're changing the way they do it. They might allow it in different areas. The thing is, it's a speed issue, and so they might give it to you, but it won't be as fast because they don't have the. This is coming from cell towers, just like anything else. So it's beaming it to my modem and then beaming it. However, I don't know how this crap works. I mean, not from a technical standpoint. So it's just like a cell phone.
Yeah.
And I was willing to check it out when I got my one. I was paying way too much with Spectrum because I couldn't even get Uverse, and when I did, they wanted to charge me extra for using too much bandwidth because I had cut the cord, and they were charging me, and then it would go out because it was attached to my phone line, and I got spotty stuff. I had a leaky roof. I figured out what was going on. Water was bugging it up in my attic, and now I just don't use any of that, and it's wonderful. And I like it. So T-Mobile, give us free stuff. Oh, wait, we don't have enough listeners for y'all to care or even notice, but I don't care. Man, if a product is good, I will definitely endorse it. Until I find out they're killing puppies because they're a corporation. But I mean, that's just what corporations do. So
I wish I was that good. I have an iPhone. You have an iPhone.
Yes.
Apparently kids in China, make them, but I'm not getting rid of my iPhone. Is that bad?
Yes, but.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
they put nets outside I think it's one of those where they don't want them to let them kill themselves by throwing themselves out high windows, so they put nets to catch them.
I will say, since then, from what I understand, things have gotten better because good journalism has brought that stuff forward, and they have then been able to hold Apple's feet to the fire to go after their manufacturers and help some of the working conditions. There is no good solution. I literally thank you for derailing this and making me sad as I stare at my iPhone, but I don't have a solution for it, and that upsets me. I guess we could invade China, but that's a bad idea.
Well, land wars in Asia always work out.
That is true. We've had such success. I mean, we're 0 for 2 in land wars in Asia.
Hey, Vietnam was a tie. So was Afghanistan, and I'm joking. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, I was talking about Korea. You're throwing Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You're throwing Afghanistan in. Is that Asia? I
Middle
guess it
East,
is.
I guess. Never mind. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know. Dude, I went to public school. I don't know geography. All this. Oh, you Americans can't find things on a map. Yes, I can. They're written on it. I can find Afghanistan on a map, provided Afghanistan is written on the.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I apologize. I Debbie downed the crap out of this. I just Debbie Downered.
You did.
The literal crap. Whoops.
I feel this is my fault because I tried to force enthusiasm before this podcast started, and this is what I get.
And I'm pushing back because if there's one thing I do is I don't yes and something. I go opposite.
Hey, that's not true. You enthusiastically talked about child labor.
I did. I was kind of
You were
smiling about it.
you
Like,
were
yeah, those kids are trying to kill themselves.
you were trying to get me to say that it's A-okay.
No, I wasn't. For whatever reason, land war in Asia. Anyway, speaking of war, have you seen the previews for Oppenheimer?
No, I have not.
Oh, it looks good.
Okay.
Cillian Murphy, not Cillian. Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy is amazing, and I will probably watch it. I'm not going to go to the theater. What's it? 8.5 hours?
I've heard IMAX.
Okay. I don't watch anything in IMAX because sometimes it makes me dizzier than hell.
And then the other thing I heard was people that saw it compared it more to a horror movie.
Oh, well then I'm hard out.
Well, I think just more that how horrific I'm guessing. Just it's
Well, I saw a headline. Oppenheimer is R-rated. Kind of why would they do that? Well, because if they're running it through, they literally kill, 1 million people or hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people with the atomic bomb. So anything that you have that high a kill count should just automatically be an R.
there is that. I remember seeing a movie years ago with John Cusack based about the development of the bomb.
Yes.
In Los Alamos.
Yes, I've
where
seen that.
The scientists were putting it together and something got out that was radioactive and they did the whole, if you were with this, and scientists died, you know.
Well, they didn't know how to deal with it. They didn't know what they were doing. They were learning it as they did it. No, it was kind of horrible.
Yeah. There was the other thing in college. I did take, I'm going to brag. Hey, I went to college, Charles. I took a course about, I think it was a semester course just about the development of the bomb.
Okay.
And there was a really good, we had a bunch of different things we read. It wasn't like a textbook, obviously, but there was a really good packet that the professor put together. I want to say Lieutenant Colonel, I don't even think it was a general in charge, and he's probably prominently featured in the movie, that was running it, kept copious notes, compartmentalized everything until everybody figured out what he was doing, was talking to physicists, mechanical engineers, theoretical physicists, and then Oppenheimer, of course, was the lead. It was really interesting. It was fascinating just how it all came together and how they got to where they got, and the trepidation Oppenheimer had from the beginning, and a lot of all the scientists, I think, to a person, I don't think any of them were like, hey, let's make a bomb that's going to kill, hundreds of thousands of people and change the face of the planet. But it was really, I'm really looking forward to that movie in a weird way to see it. So there's another bunny trail for you. You're welcome.
So they succeed in the train heist, sort of, because they find out about it. Well, Catwoman gets away.
And Slam Bradley gets involved at the end. He flies a plane there because he figures out what's going on, too.
Well, he hijacks a plane, or he convinces a pilot to take him, and then the pilot gets killed.
Everybody gets killed.
Pretty much, doesn't everybody but Sam Bradley and Catwoman get killed, or does Jeff live? I can't remember.
No, Jeff's the first one in the boat.
Jeff's the first one to die.
Swifty, remember, they get to Swifty.
Right. Yes, they get Swifty.
And the two French guys are in the boat. Immediately, they're like going to toast, and Jeff gets shot in the head, and then Swifty's already been shot. Yeah, it's very, yeah.
It's the way these things go. The femme fatale gets everybody killed.
Yep.
And she really kind of plays the role of the femme fatale in this. She brings it together, gets everybody killed.
Yeah. There were a couple images of Slam Bradley that I can't help but think were on purpose that really looked like just a rough Dick Tracy. He had a hat on in a profile one time, a couple times, where it was like, well, that's just a really rough looking, more like what you would expect a private eye to look like if Dick Tracy was more real.
Yeah. Well, he looked like a hard-boiled detective. That was so.
And then there was when Slam Bradley's, and then the next little arc is Slam Bradley trying to find Catwoman.
Yeah, the mayor hires him to find Catwoman. We don't know why the mayor hires him to find Catwoman, by the way. It never comes up, but the mayor is adamant about it, and he wants her to find her because Catwoman killed Selena Kyle. As we all know, I'm assuming that Selena Kyle is Catwoman, and we find out later that the mob was hiring someone to kill Selena Kyle, so Catwoman took the job, so Catwoman killed herself.
Yeah, to just reset, I guess.
Yeah, somebody was going to kill her because we turn out Batman later comes, you should have come to me. And she's like, fuck off, Batboy. Well, not quite. But yeah, he attacks, Batman attacks Slam Bradley because he's looking for Catwoman, which was amusing. I think part of the reason, now that I think about it, it was kind of implied that part of the reason they're looking for Catwoman, the mayor was looking for Catwoman, was they had paid, because someone had paid Catwoman to kill Selena Kyle. They did not think Selena Kyle was dead, so they wanted Catwoman to pay for not killing Selena Kyle and finding it. It was a very convoluted little thing going on. It was enjoyable, but I really only enjoyed it because it was this detective thing, and the inner monologue of the detective was fun. And Sam Bradley kept getting his ass beat because it went back to when he was investigating the heist before he decided to save Catwoman, and he went to see Swifty, which comes up in the first arc, and Swifty has a couple of goons beat the hell out of him and throw him out. So he's always getting his ass beat. I mean, he got his ass beat by the mob, who finds out that he's looking for him, and they're like, you need to tell us this. And there was a brilliant callback because it was one mob guy who's acting friendly, and he keeps fronting him later. You haven't told us what's going on for a while. How you doing, buddy? And da-da-da. And at the end of it, after he'd gotten his ass kicked again, he runs into him, and he's like, okay, payback's a bitch time. And you don't see it.
Yeah, because he had mentioned, I'm gonna kick his teeth in.
Oh, yes.
Eventually, and
yes.
Sure enough, that's the last person you see.
Yes. It's like, all right, this has been a rough run, and you're going to bear the consequences of what I had to take over the last couple of weeks. So
I did enjoy Slam Bradley to the point where I'm wondering if they ever spun him off into his own anything.
Wasn't he?
I don't know the answer to that.
The fact that I know his name tells me he's an old school character that was his own character.
Like from maybe way back when, but I'm just
Yes.
wondering whether they've since this have like done a Slam Bradley. You know, they did like Gotham PD.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was
don't
interested.
know either. Yeah. That's a valid question.
You talked about her talking about Batman, and just saying no, I'm not going to go to him. I feel like there's not too subtle, and not that it needed to be. Just Selena Kyle's Catwoman's big issues with Batman is he's very black and white, good and bad. She talks about there being, of course, gray areas. Good people, like you said earlier, good people doing bad things because, quote unquote, bad things because they got to survive.
Well, yeah. She talks about how he's not going down to the East End and care about prostitutes getting murdered because prostitutes are bad guys in his eyes. And it is a real problem. And it is a thing across reality, not just comic books, that the killing of sex workers is not investigated the way the killing of just some random person is. They just, it's just something that happens. That's why it's one of the main reasons serial killers prey on sex workers.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. A lot of times, once they figure out that there is a serial killer, everyone's astonished that they didn't pick up on this before. And I don't know if it's a conscious decision by these, literal psychopaths, but nobody pays attention when 3 or 4 sex workers that have no connections to anybody or anything go missing and aren't seen.
The other part is a systemic problem with, God forbid I should hope for our police to be better and more organized, but one of the flaws with our amazingly flawed justice system is every police department is its own fiefdom, and they do not communicate with each other. So if you kill a prostitute in one area with a certain MO, and then you go kill another in another area with the same MO, and another with the same MO, they're not going to necessarily connect all of these together as the same person, because they're all going to be, this is just a random murder that we have because it's a sex worker, we have no way to trace it. They're very far. Don't get me wrong, they investigate it, but they're not connecting it to these things. And that's where they really get missed, is you have to have somebody notice, wait a minute, I heard over in that jurisdiction, they had a very similar murder. So there's no real database as such. Good. I'm glad I don't. There are so many true crime podcasts that so many people listen to, and I just can't deal with them because it's just like, oh my God, all of the horrible things that go on that we can't seem to be able to do anything about. Anywho, this is a downer. So let's talk about the nuclear bomb again.
Yeah, I was going to say we are. You were talking about getting us all pumped up, and I think I feel like it's my fault because at first I'm like, hey, let's talk about child labor, and
there was something. There was something even before that. Plus, we're talking about. This is the last arc of this, which was
the children muling. You remember that? Did you go ahead?
No, I thought that was the Clayface murders.
There's a Clayface Murders, but then there was the part where the kids are being used as mules. They're swallowing bags of heroin.
Yes, that was this. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, it was it was 300 and something pages. And I know I say it's just a comic book. That was a long, long comic, and it wasn't one story. It was an
three
arc.
or four different stories. Yeah.
Yeah, massive. It was arc after arc after arc, and it's just like, okay. So
When I suggested it, I saw 1 through 9, but it was the 4 issues from the Detective Comics that led into this, and then it was like 3-issue arcs in the 1 through 9 of Catwoman proper. And when I realized what I'd done, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a little longer than I thought it was going to be. But
it's fine. Like I said,
overall, I liked it.
Yeah. No, it was really well done. It was really dark, and it did something that DC does much better than Marvel, which is delve into quasi-real issues. I mean, it really gets into, this is real things that go on in the world that we don't have it's not trying to have an answer for it. It's just saying, hey, this is stuff that goes on, and we don't know what to do about it. And they were there.
Selena Kyle talks also about, well, let me back up. When the child mule arc, where the guy that's the low-level guy in charge of the kids, and she flips him, and she's talking to him about, because I think he's Hispanic maybe, or some person of color. One of her other things is, look, we've all been doing what rich white men want us to do. You were brought up in this way, you're doing it to kids too. That's a big, that is a big theme for her, is, that she's not going to do what a bunch of rich guys, especially rich white guys, want her to do. It seems, and that's where she flips that guy. That's when he kidnaps the guy in charge of him and changes him to the bed like the kids would be, so they can pass through a bowel movement the heroin, for example. And the poor one kid, it burst in his stomach and he's brain dead.
Yeah.
A couple characters before I forget. Dr. Thompkins is in this, longtime doctor to Batman and the Bat family. She has her clinic. There's also a character that Slam Bradley goes to see, who's a reporter named Spender, and I can't help but think that he looked a lot like Ed Asner from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and I just thought that had to have been on purpose. Like, I don't think these guys do much on accident. I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
A couple other notes.
Cool. All right. But like I said, I really, really enjoyed that. It was well worth reading. I would have read it on my own if I'd have known it existed. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Did you like the art? I'm just curious. I know you're not a big art guy.
The art was great. No, I like that noir dark when it's useful.
And Darwyn Cooke has had, I mean, he has passed away, a very distinctive style. Mm-hmm. In some ways similar to like Bruce Timm from the Batman animated series, I feel like, a little bit, but still different.
Well, they didn't run the animated thing was so Art Deco. It was such a throwback to original Batman with the kind of Art Deco look of the era. And they didn't do that here. They did more of the grimy New York streets of kind of later eras. Instead of the more realistic era appropriate of New York, instead of the, hey, let's do the DC era of New York. You know what I mean? So yeah, I liked it. I did. It was good art. All right. Shall we?
Yay! Shall we? I did good. I'm patting myself on the back.
You should. Well done, you. Okay, so this is the time where we sometimes read mail, which we don't have this time because, again, we very rarely get mail. But if you would like, you can email us through our website, havencharles.com, that is hosted by my wonderful brother, Patrick. And
thanks, Patrick.
And you can go to the top of the page and click the link that says Send Hav Email. And it'll send actually email to me, but I will read it on the pod. Unless you expressly ask me not to, and then I won't, and I'll wonder why. Unless you say something really, really funny or really, really, really horrible, I won't necessarily read it or say your email, but I probably will bring it up. Yeah, I'll definitely bring it up. Oh, yeah. There's no way I'm not reading anything that's not spam that's sent to us.
That would be funny if you read the spam email.
I think I did.
We did get an email, and I'm going to get all excited.
I did once a year or a year and a half ago to whenever we got some kind of thing, so I read it, and I've gotten tired of that. Because it's also connected to some of it's on a website, it's et cetera, so it's a findable email address that's a link to a podcast, so I'll get podcast, hey, pay us money and we'll help promote your podcast. Then I read them and go, yeah, think I want to. I don't know that I want anybody to listen to this. They might have expectations of us.
I'm just hoping that some prince from a foreign nation needs our help to get funds out of his country while he's in exile, and we can get rich quick.
Okay. I will, if we do get one of those, I'll just forward it to you.
Please. I'm just, I'm always willing to help when I can benefit financially.
I'm sure you are. As are we all. As are we all. All right. So I dug deep because Hav and I have talked many times on this pod about Gail Simone and how much we love her, and we love her Twitter page and yada, yada, yada. So I wanted to find something that she wrote, and I did. I found a Plastic Man arc, which I selected that because I'd actually had also wanted to read Plastic Man, because I've never read any Plastic Man in anything other than when he makes brief appearances in a Justice League something. And it's always a tiny thing, and he's always a joke. Literally, it's used for just a joke punchline. And from what I understood back when he came out, he was just this deep, intricate, real character that was like almost nothing else that's ever been done. And as Havel probably mentioned, there used to be a Plastic Man cartoon when we were young kids, and I vaguely remember that I watched it, but I do not remember anything of it other than it was Plastic Man and it was weird. So that was why I selected it. I hadn't read it. Full disclosure, the only expectation I had of it was I'm probably going to like it because it's Gail Simone, and I did. And I didn't just like it because it was Gail Simone, but I did really enjoy it. What did you think?
I liked it. Of course I mean, not of course, but I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've always been fascinated by Plastic Man. And I remember, we've talked about it before here, the cartoon, I remember the Saturday morning cartoon, and like you said, that's about it. I couldn't tell you any details about it. I can't remember if it was as campy and fun as this. I actually, years ago, picked up a really inexpensive Golden Age comic book of Plastic Man, one of his first appearances, that I found in, like, antique store. And I was, like, looking around, like, why is this in here? I mean, I think was from the 40s.
Wow.
Because his first appearance was 1941. He is a Golden Age hero, published by Quality Comics, which I believe is also where Uncle Sam came from, if I'm not mistaken. And you nailed it on the head. Not like any other. I mean, predates, of course, Mr. Fantastic by decades. When it comes to the stretchy thing, it was. I think even back then played for laughs.
Yes.
In comedic, I think his origin, where he was a bad guy, a gangster, low level.
I love that origin, that he was a bad guy and he's trying to do better. And this whole thing is littered with that, because this kind of takes the beginning of this is more. It's not its origin. He's obviously been around for a little bit, but he ain't been around that long. He's still learning to be a hero. He is working as a bouncer in a superhero strip club. I love that, by the way. And he sleeps up above, and they don't know he's Plastic Man in the beginning of it. They just know he was a dirtbag, and they can tell he's trying not to be a dirtbag anymore, but he is a dirtbag. He is known for being a dirtbag, and he's a dirtbag. I keep using that. I'd like to come up with a different word, but he is not a good guy. He was a gangster. He's a mouthy guy. His partners killed him, and some goo ends up on him, and they throw him in a river, and that's how he becomes the thing. And they also kill a security guard, which he realizes, I couldn't tell, did he shoot him or did he not shoot him? He did shoot him?
I think so. You know what?
Because it's back and forth 8 different times the way they look at it, because he doesn't think he did it first, and then he remembers that he did, and they say he did, and they don't. I think it's still slightly ambiguous, but he may have accidentally shot the guy.
I get yes. I went back after I was kind of done. I was like, wait a second, did he kill him? Yeah, I think he did. Not on purpose.
No, it wasn't on purpose. But you carry a gun to a robbery and you kill somebody, even if it's an accident, you're a fucking killer. You showed up with the damn gun.
I also like the origin where they don't over-explain the origin. Like this, the stuff got on him. He turned into Plastic Man. Don't get into the science of it. Like, don't try to explain to me why Superman can fly and all that stuff. It's just, look, superheroes.
Yeah,
stuff's gonna happen.
He got the goop on him, and the goop made him stretchy.
There you go. And there's no other. I feel like other people would try to explain too much about him. Like, why the glasses? Why the red suit? The weird, strap thing. No, just look. That's his look. Just deal with it. That's how
his custom. You don't. Yeah, no. She doesn't bother with any of that. She's just, this is it. This is it. She takes the time to build the characters instead of explaining minutia, because the characters in it were good. He it starts out and you don't know he's Plastic Man. He's just Eel O'Brien. It's Eel O'Brien, right?
Eel, yeah, EEL, which I didn't know, but go ahead, yeah.
Eel O'Brien is his original name, and that's his secret identity, except that's just who he is. He's Eel O'Brien. We see him first in an alley, and he is
getting the crap kicked out of him.
He's getting the crap kicked out of him because they thought he was dead, and it's his crew that threw him in the river when he was dying, where they thought he was dying, and then he got the powers, but he is taking a beating like a normal person would take a beating, and they leave him basically what they think is probably beat to death. And boy, he is mouthing off. One of the things he says to one of the guys is, "Hey, what was it? Oh, I got to find this."
Was it about the condoms?
Yes, it was about the condoms, because it cracked me up.
If there's one thing Gail Simone is good at, it's the witty banter.
Oh my God. And it was a, hey, let's show everyone who he is. I have so many screenshots right now, and I forgot to put my screenshots in the right place. I've been reading a lot of comics, and even the ones we don't read, I take screenshots of just because I've just started doing that. I'm not using them for anything, but I'm by God doing it.
The art, by the way, while you're doing that, it was by Adriana Melo. And very good art. Great.
It was bright and shiny, just like it should be. So we've got this kind of a noir-y thing. Yeah, here it is. The bad kid guy says to him, "Hey, doing okay there, sport? I've been working on my swing, because he's beating him with a bat." He says, "Hey, Sammy, do me a solid." "What's that, home plate? I left some rubbers at your mom's house on the nightstand. Can I get those back? Your sister's in town."
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell?
Yep.
I was just like, oh my Lord. This is in like the first 3 pages of the comic.
Yes. No, it starts off strong. It doesn't stop.
It's a banger, as the kids say. Yeah, no, it's page 9. It's page 9, and they are beating him. They're basically beating him to death. And then you get introduced immediately to the suave prince of something street.
Yes, the kid.
The kid. There's a kid, and it is a wonderful way to put in, because it is a homeless child, and he walks up and he's trying to help him, and he pulls his arms, and they just keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when great. You know, oh yeah,
it's a great visual.
It really was. So it's Plastic Man, and the kid will come back, and the kid introduces himself as the suave kid. Turns out the kid is homeless. The kid's name is Margaret, and the kid explains to him because at one point Eel realizes it and says, "Wait, you're a girl?" And the kid says, "I haven't decided," and I love that because they just do this whole arc.
Yeah.
It was subtle, and it was beautiful, and Gail is awesome. She structured this so well, and he is just zany.
And the kid in the intro says something like, "That's so Wang."
Oh yes, he's like, "That's so Wang."
And Plastic Man is so it's just so. Wait, is Wang good? Is Wang bad? I'm so confused. And then the rest of the comic, I swear,
he keeps using it.
He keeps using it, and I love it. And I am gonna start just using Wang.
Well,
he's like,
I have another.
Isn't Wang a penis? But go ahead.
I have another screenshot. Okay. So evil geniuses hiding right. This is Eel. So even geniuses hiding right next to the big guns. You're saying, lady, you're full of Wang.
Yeah,
it's just
an all-purpose word. You can use it as a noun, a verb. It could probably be a descriptor.
Oh. And even like simple things. I took a screenshot of this one. He's talking to, I guess this is Huntress at one point, looking for something, and I don't think
or Batwoman. Oh, go ahead.
That ain't Batwoman.
Or Huntress.
Okay. It could be. I guess it could be Batwoman. Is Batwoman got red hair?
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably Batwoman, and I don't even think we see. I think this is just what we see is her answering a question, not doing anything, because she goes, "No, I haven't seen anyone like that," and "No, I don't want to see your slide trombone."
Yes.
I mean, yeah. And there are multiple references to him being hung just gigantically.
Well, because at one point he's getting undressed, and he's like, I think it's because Obscura is the secret agent person that's trying to enlist him to help with the super cabal. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, maybe you want to turn around. She's like, no, I'm fine. And then at one point she's like, oh my God.
Yes.
Or something. And he's like, what? Is it the 6-pack? I can make it a 12-pack. And he's, because he's Plastic Man.
Yes.
There's and I didn't take good notes on this one for no apparent reason. The 2 women that work at the strip club, the strippers, one likes him, one doesn't, and then they kind of flip.
Yeah, they do flip.
Or don't
because
flip.
One of them likes him, and he's kind of not being interested in her. He doesn't want to really do anything with this. And I think the other one dated him at some point. I got the implication that the one that doesn't like him actually had gone out with him.
Okay.
Because she's explaining, no, he's not a good guy. You're better than. She's like, oh no, I think he is a good guy, and da 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 da. And then he does something that doesn't
Heroic.
go. Yes, but doesn't go well. And so the first woman is like, oh no, I can't do this. And then the other one's like, oh wait, he has changed. This is who he's trying to be, kind of thing. So it was, I liked that flip right there.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So at some point, Obscura enlists him to investigate the super cabal.
Mm-hmm. The cabal.
Of bad guys. Did I say it wrong? Cabal?
No. Yeah, no, you said it right.
Cable?
No,
Okay.
you said it right. I was emphasizing. I was like, the cabal. And then
I know, cabals, it's so menacing.
And then
you
got all self-conscious.
I did. No,
trust you. If you said it wrong, I would have ridiculed you unmercifully. It's our thing.
I would expect nothing less, sir.
Duh.
Queen Bee, Psycho Pirate, who I don't know. Not Psycho. Was it Psycho Pirate?
No.
Is that his name? No, not Psycho Pirate. Dr. Psycho.
Dr. Psycho. Yeah, because Dr. Psycho's in the Harley Quinn. Yeah, and they play him for a joke.
Well, in this version of him, I want to say this came out 2018. I want to say predates the Harley Quinn. I don't remember Dr. Psycho looking exactly like this, but he, from this, looks exactly like he does in the Harley Quinn cartoon.
Okay.
Did he always look like this, is what I'm asking.
I have no idea. The only time I've ever seen Dr. Psycho is in the Harley Quinn cartoon and this comic book.
Okay, well, so question for me to figure out later.
Yes.
The weird doctor from Batman, Hugo Strange, I think, is one of them, Amazo, and then I always forget this bad guy's name. He's been with the D on his chest, with the, like, wears a skirt, but nobody wants to call it a skirt because it's just a long jacket. I forget his name. Anyways, they're the Super Cabal, which, yeah, I mean,
it's just the Cabal.
Oh, it's just the Cabal?
I thought it was just the Cabal.
Okay,
I don't think it's the Super Cabal. I mean,
okay.
It's not very... The Super Cabal, that sounds more like... Anyway. So, yeah.
They kidnap the kid, right, at some point?
They do. They kidnap the kid. Man-Bat, because he calls it Batman.
He got confused at the
Batman.
beginning?
Well, he's having a weird thing because he gets attacked and the kid is kidnapped and he has to go rescue the kid and Batman does it. And then there's the conversation between the two ladies that switch around because he's telling her about Batman stealing a kid and she goes, "This is bullshit. Batman doesn't steal kids. He's not a monster." And Plastic Man replies back, "Spoken like someone who's never boosted a car in Gotham, Lila. Think all them robbing kids come from a farm somewhere?"
We were just texting about...
Yeah, I know. We were making jokes about that, talking about, because you and I both had ideas for dark bad Batman arcs. Yours were, you went further than I want to go like you normally do.
Hey, I gotta take it all the way to the end, baby.
Not the end. You just get too dark.
So our idea was Batman's a bad person, and my idea was it was actually Alfred that kills his parents.
Well, no, originally you say also has there also.
Oh, you're okay. You're looking at it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, it all started because I sent out a tweet from someone I really like on Twitter. He says Bruce Wayne in the stands drafting Robins because there's a video of these kids just going nuts breaking wood, and it's amazing. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. And he retweeted that with Bruce Wayne in the stands drafting Robins. And you said also, has there been an evil Batman story where he killed the Graysons so he could recruit Dick Grayson? Which that's a good evil Batman story. That right there. So I replied that. I said, not that I know of, but it'd be great. I was thinking about a dark Batman where he always has a Robin ready to replace the next one because one dies about once a year. Because come on, these kids are not living through this stuff. It'd be more realistic if they were just dying one after another. So he's just got another one on deck. It's just like, bring out a new Robin. He's
always training one.
It's always in the background being trained and ready to go. And then you go, good point. It was actually Alfred in disguise that killed Bruce's parents so he could take control of the Wayne fortune and turn Bruce into a psychopathic killer. See, you went back into a whole evil arc that I was just trying to have dark. And okay, this is bad. But you can, anyway, wow. That one was just... That actually kind of killed the conversation.
I love the ending. Yeah, it did.
It was just like, too far. I would think that Honestly, from a structure story, this was my main problem with that point right there. Is I would think the whole point of Alfred, which is to keep him who he is, which is trying to fight against the baser, worse natures of Bruce Wayne, i.e. maybe he's still against him basically farming Robins, that they keep dying. He's like, this is not good for anyone. It's not even good for these poor little orphans that you keep finding, because he loves him a dead parent. He loves him some dead parents. He's not going to go out and create them, but he is hunting them. Which of these young martial artists' parents are dead? That's my next Robin.
I think it's maybe two different takes, because I still like my.
I get you,
Yeah.
But you're missing. I'm just gonna talk about story form. I just think you're missing what Alfred is great at, which is being a conscience for Batman, and you're just getting.
And I
yeah.
completely get that. I just turned that. That's what I'm turning on. That's what I feel like I'm turning on head. Alfred is actually has no conscience and is the instigator and is the bad guy. Is the evil mastermind. Which,
I got you.
Again, I'm wondering if anybody's ever done, and I don't think they have. Which
they
would
can't.
be interesting.
Well, my guess is in the Crime Syndicate universe that is it Owlman is similar to that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know
true.
if it's exactly what you're talking about, but I mean the Owlman, it is Owlman, right?
Yeah, I think so.
In the Bat universe.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm proud of me for that. Yay me.
Plastic Man, before I forget, not that we're running behind or rushing, but created by Jack Cole, and in this the city he's in is Cole City, which is a nice tribute
That is cool.
to the writer, artist, creator. And like you said, back then very much different than any superhero that was going back then in the 40s.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
It was completely different.
He's still completely different. He really is just it's why I wanted to read more. I've read about it before, and I did find a longer arc where they did a big reboot, because you mentioned when I suggested it, if it was this run, this not being the run you were talking about, but there's a very long run that I'm going to go back and read. It's on Hoopla too. And I just didn't want to read it when I'm reading this, so I wouldn't bang up the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't want to take from something else while we read this, because I really did enjoy this, and I want to read that other arc just because I like this character a lot, and most of the reason I like him is just because I've read about him. Other people have written just stories about, Plastic Man is this amazing character that I'm really feeling he's just amazingly underutilized. I would love now James Gunn to do a Plastic Man movie.
I think I don't think I'm making this up. For years there was talk about Jim Carrey being Plastic Man.
I honest to God, yes and no. This will sound bad. I think it might be too over the top with Jim Carrey.
Ha!
No, think about this. Think about what Jim Carrey in this. Plastic Man does not go that zany, and it works. In this, when he's E.L. O'Brien, he's E.L. O'Brien. When he's Plastic Man, he's out there, but he's not this over-the-top, just slapsticky mask, because they're thinking of the mask when they think of that. He's not going that big.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what I was thinking of. Jim Carrey's done The Mask, the movie, based on the comic book, which I never read before. I hadn't even heard of it before the movie, unfortunately. But we've already had Jim Carrey do that, so I think and he's also kind of aged out.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely aged out of that. But and there's I just think it personally, for me, I think that would be too big. What Jim Carrey would do with it would be too big. It needs to be slightly, and I'm not saying a whole lot less, but Jim Carrey doesn't have a lower gear.
Correct.
He does, but it's so low. Then you get Sunshine of the Spotted Vine, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotted Vine. You get that. He can do that. I'm not. Jim Carrey's really a good actor, but I don't think you could put him in a Plastic Man and keep him tamped down into the little ball that sometimes you need Plastic Man to be in. That's just my casting note.
James Gunn, you're right. Given his track record with comedic, serious, but breaking it up with the funny, ripe for it. I would love, I know I hold this in higher esteem maybe than you, because the Justice League that we read with the comedy and the funny and the haha that I like so much, that Guy Gardner prominently featured, the reboot, I would love to see with the witty banter. That wasn't that funny. It was hilarious, and you stop attacking me.
I'm not attacking
Batman
you.
makes a joke.
I understand. Batman made a joke that wasn't that good, and you have been emotionally masturbating to that forever.
See, you bring it back to the sex thing.
Hey,
every time.
by the way, I was going to say something much worse that way, and I dialed it back and reformed it. I was like, let's. He's gonna bring it.
You gotta bring.
I know.
Okay.
I have a problem. This is as close as I got to therapy, man. Back off.
Fair. I would, and again, I would like to see James Gunn try to tackle that, or do a series, or you know what, an animated show with that. You know, where especially because you didn't even get to the parts where Mr. Miracle and Big Barda are in it, and the funny there. It's and then
there was some. It was, I could see where they were trying to be a more comedic version of the Justice League. It just
Martian Manhunter talking about his meditation that involves him going into a room and screaming.
The Martian Manhunter's scream therapy is some of the same therapy I use in the shower. I can feel that. I like that. Yeah, my neighbors don't like it, but it's cathartic, and we all have our own process.
There's a really funny scene where he's telling, because I think it's past the arc. It's when they're going Justice League International and everything's going wrong when they're trying to move. It's an issue about them moving, essentially, and everything's going wrong. And at one point,
isn't even the one we have. With the one we read, they're literally packing. Or
Maybe.
did I read further? I mean,
maybe you read further. There's one where they're just packing, but they're landing a helicopter on the roof of like the Paris headquarters or something. And then somebody said, then I think it's Martian Manhunter talking to Captain Atom. Like, wait a second, is the roof rated to be able to support a helipad? Did anybody check that out? And then of course you hear the crash. And then that's when Martian Manhunter says, I'm going to go exercise, use my Martian therapeutic exercise. And Captain Atom's like, what's that? I'm going to go in a room and scream. Do you mind if I join you? Because there's just everything. It's hilarious.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, because Martian Manhunter is always so stoic, and
yes.
Anyways, enough of that, I guess. But everybody's already poo-pooing on James Gunn since we're talking about
why
that.
He's not released anything yet.
Exactly, and of course,
you know who's poo-pooing on him?
The Snyder Bros.
People it's the Snyder Bros, and they're just loud. There's not that many of them. If there were that many of them, all of those movies would have been a massive success.
Well, those movies would have been a massive success if those movies were good also.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying the whole point of this is you just don't understand what Snyder was doing. You're right. Actually, you're wrong. We absolutely understood what Snyder was doing. We just did not care for it that much.
I don't like Batman. I mean, I don't like Superman being dark and moody and brooding.
Give me the happy, not even happy. Give me the good Spider-Man who's optimistic and thinks that good can happen in the world, and his whole raison d'etre is to be good and to have good in the world. That's what we want. If you have an all-powerful being that can destroy the world, it's bad if he's not uplifting. It's terrifying, and that's what Snyder wants. He wants you afraid of your dark overlords, your libertarian gods that that control everything. But that's not what we need in a comic book movie. You can go ahead and do some Ayn Rand BS.
Objectivism.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it does not. Yes, exactly. It does not work with Superman. And have it be Superman, because that's not who he is. And that is the end of my rant.
At the beginning, by the way, I want to point out, you're going to listen to this when you edit. You said Spider-Man instead of Superman.
Did I?
Swear.
Oh, okay. I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Because he's your fave.
He is my favorite. He is. I do love me some Spider-Man and every iteration of Spider-Man. And I've since my afternoon just opened up, I may go back and watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse again today.
Ooh.
Except I really still haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Ooh.
I know I need to see. I really very much need to see that.
Have you kept away from spoilers?
Oh yeah. I've not been on the. I'm amazed how I did, and we're far enough away from it now. At first, it was just stay away, and now it's fine.
I haven't. I saw that. I haven't seen the new Spider-Verse. I need to. I haven't seen The Flash. I may at this point just wait for it to come out.
I'm absolutely waiting for The Flash to come out on HBO Max. There's no way. I'm sorry, Max. Sorry, but I'm not going to go pay for that. I prepaid for it. I've got the streaming service. You're going to put it on the streaming service. Hey, I haven't watched the Shazam movie, the second Shazam movie yet.
Me neither. And that's streaming.
Yeah,
now,
it's streaming. Matter of fact, I'm literally not watching it to the point of, since I just signed up for Disney Plus so I could watch Secret Invasion. I'm in the midst of rewatching, God help me, The Phantom Menace.
Okay. Why?
Why not?
Okay,
Hold on. You of all people, Dark Phoenix?
No, I know.
I mean, because hold on. Honestly, you want to know why? I have been listening to people talk, and they've talked about how it's not as bad as we remember. And I have watched it, it's been many years. And the last time I watched it, I was like, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as we are. This is not saying it's good, and it's not a great Star Wars movie, but it has grown in people's mind as this terrible thing. There are some bad parts in it. There is a core of a good movie. Jar Jar is not in it as much as people claim. And that's the other thing I'm watching for, because I've had that talked about. And Dave Filoni explained to, and I can't remember which person, but it's somebody we know, explained the whole point of the age of Anakin and why. And the whole point of the reason it's there is you need to see this child and what he becomes and why he becomes that. And if you look at it that way, it actually makes sense. And I'm watching it that way. I'm watching it with what Dave Filoni, who after George Lucas is the keeper of Star Wars. Honestly, we would not have a lot of the stuff we've got right now without Dave Filoni.
Correct.
Because he's great and he understands, and he's spent tons and tons of time with George Lucas, and he's a better writer than George Lucas.
That's not saying much, but...
No, I understand, but George Lucas is an incredible world builder and storyteller. He is a storyteller. Yeah, he is a storyteller. He builds these massive things. Some of his ideas don't necessarily work, and he can't... And honestly, almost no one should have complete and total free reign. He needed an editor on this movie more than he needed anything. So
it's also interesting that the best movie, Empire, was not directed or written by George Lucas, I don't think.
Look, when you say...
he was the story, but...
Yeah, when you say not written by, you can only have, I believe, 2 writers on a screenplay. He writes these things, and he is very involved with these things, and he stands at the hand of the guy directing it. He's there. It's not like when Empire was directed by somebody else. Someone else was doing it and doing all the hard work, but I promise you, George Lucas had final approval over everything that went on. Yeah.
Agree, but it was Kushner, whatever.
Kushner,
I think was
the writer,
was the director.
No, is it the director? Okay.
Anyways,
yes.
Did you look? I remember being so excited to see Phantom Menace. I remember being enthralled by the previews. I saw it once, and I saw it twice in the same day because I was like, I'm gonna rewatch that, and I was like, but I did love one thing that I'll never back off on, that final lightsaber fight scene is freaking awesome.
That's one of the other reasons I'm watching it. They finally got a great lightsaber. So that's the first great lightsaber scene. And I had watched, the other reason I'm leading into this is I just watched, when I got it, after I watched the 4 episodes of Secret Invasion, I watched the Essential Ahsoka episodes of the Clone Wars because she is my favorite Jedi. And so I rewatched those, and it got me thinking about Anakin again. So I went back to the Phantom Menace, and I'm going to watch the Phantom Menace, and then I'm going to watch all 3 of the prequels, which got progressively better. And the only negative on all of them at this point, especially the second and third one, was they needed a better edit.
I got years ago a edit, some fanboy online, Twitter maybe even, did his own edit of Phantom Menace where he cut out a lot of the Jar Jar stuff, just made it tighter story. It was okay, but I get you.
Yeah, it makes it a little better. It makes it a little better. There's some glaring things that really I'm like, why did that not hit the cutting room floor? The fart scene. Yeah. In the pod race. That should have hit the cutting room floor. I get it. It's funny. To me, it's not funny. I get people that think it's funny, but it was just completely unnecessary.
And what I've learned also, the Phantom Menace, for example, in those movies, those were some kids' first entree into Star Wars, and they love them.
Oh, yeah. No, that's his point. That was why he had some of this stuff. It was for the kids.
Yeah.
And I get it. I do. I'm just saying they need some... You notice I didn't say get rid of Jar Jar Binks. I didn't. I might have toned him down a little, but I understand the character. I certainly would have never had the trade envoys doing a bad Asian accent.
Yeah, that's cringy.
I walked out of that movie, all of us, my whole family, we went and saw that movie together, and we walked out of it with yeah, that was a choice. And that was even my baby boomer parents.
Yeah, that was cringy. Cringy. The other thing about, okay, since we're going down this, Anakin turning to the dark side, I felt was too, they didn't lay enough ground. I don't know why. It just, there's something lacking there when he turned.
They did it too quick. They did it too quick
Yeah.
because you can't see all of the stuff. If you watch the Clone Wars, you see it. That's why they did the Clone Wars, and that's where you get all of the stuff that he's turning, and you understand that. You don't, honestly though, you don't have time in those movies to really show him turning as much. You get the idea. It's all the loss. It's been a slave. He wants control. He's always wanted to control. He doesn't think the Jedi are doing what they do. Even from this, when he comes in and Anakin realizes he's a Jedi and says, "Are you here to free the slaves?" "Oh no, I think that's what you do because that's what Jedis do." And the whole time, Qui-Gon's like, "No, I'm not freeing slaves. That's not what we do. That's not what Jedis do."
And the fact that he just leaves and
he leaves his mom. He could have just taken his mom.
When he goes back, yeah, it's just so weird and bad. Okay.
Qui-Gon could have just grabbed his mom and left. He's a Jedi. Ain't nobody going to stop him. Once that ship is fixed, he can just take him. He chose not to. He's following laws.
It's messed up.
He's following laws he doesn't even believe in, that aren't even laws. So anyway, all right, this is not a Star Wars podcast. He lied.
Hey, you know what? It's a podcast about whatever the hell we want it to be, man. Don't harsh my buzz.
All right, let's get back to dick jokes. So there is a great I screenshot this on Plastic Man. This is a jarring switch, and I love the jarring. Let's go. So they're tearing off somewhere. Plastic Man is tearing off somewhere. His clothes are coming flying off, and there's a little old lady knitting in front of her window, and she goes, "Fred?" "Yes, dear." "They're firing naked men across the sky, Fred." "That's nice, dear." "How are the nethers, dear?" "Like a racehorse at the Kentucky Derby, Fred." "That's nice, dear."
Yeah, I remember that panel or those panels. That's awesome. Or that's that page.
Yeah, because it turns out there's something in this that can impersonate Plastic Man, and they murdered one of his cohorts. And a women's tea club hired a group because the cops can't get Plastic Man to attack him. So there's a fight with another super group that they realize what's going on. And that was during this because he's attacked and he thinks it's the Cabal attacking him. And it's actually a group of do-gooders that have been paid to, vigilante do-gooders, heroes for hire, as it were. And it's a funny little bit.
Yes. No, it was, we've said it before. She's awesome. She is good at the writing and the words. Gail Simone is, I tell you.
Yes, very, very much so. So you mentioned the young lady, the spy lady that
Obscura, I think,
who was shocked by his racehorse type appendage.
Yeah.
It turns out that they rescue the homeless boy, and eventually he discovers that she, the spy lady, was lying about the Cabal. Not that the Cabal existed, but she was lying about the capture because she's trying to get him to investigate, because the Cabal has evidently infiltrated so many things. And so she kidnapped him to convince him of that. And he realizes that because he figures out who the Man-Bat is. He goes and meets with the Man-Bat because he's trying to get the Man-Bat. He learns about him and learns that it's a scientist who did a Jekyll and Hyde thing to cure himself of something, and it turns him into the Man-Bat. And he asks him, he's like, you can fix me. And the doctor's like, I could, but I'm not gonna, because honestly, look what I did to myself. If I tried, it'd probably turn out worse for you. And he was like, oh yeah, fair point. Okay, yeah, all right, Man-Bat, I get it. So
I'm not a good scientist, apparently.
Well, when you're monkeying about with that kind of stuff, you can be a good scientist, but you'd have to keep testing until you got better. Mistakes happen with good science. That's what the scientific process is about. Well, crap, that didn't work. I guess we go back to the drawing board. New hypothesis.
Well, to bring it full circle, we're talking about Oppenheimer.
Uh-huh.
Trying to put together, the scientists died because radioactivity, and we're messing with stuff. We're trying to figure some stuff out. It happens.
Yeah. Cue Marie Curie.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Anyway, so there's some incredibly poignant thing. He takes the boy to, let's call it Coney Island,
Yes.
with one of the young ladies, and they're having this wonderful day, and they're doing so good, and they're having a moment. I mean, they are. It's really sweet because they're talking about it. He's like, no, you can be whoever you want. I will call you whatever you want me to call you. We're best in anything you want today. And then child services shows up, and that's when the blonde that wanted him at first turns on him. That's when she turns on him because he called child services. But he's trying to do the right thing. This is because that's the right thing. This thug / superhero that lives as a bouncer in a bar. It lives above the bar he's a bouncer at, that has strippers, including a Batman stripper, and all sorts of different. I mean, all of the superheroes and villains. It's hilarious. It cracks me up, especially when the ladies go and blackmail a professor. Was it a professor they blackmail to check? Oh yeah, the alien writing or some writing on something. They blackmail a professor, and then they by saying, "Hey, we know what you want." And by the way, the next X number of visits are free. You get this. Oh, okay. In that case. So child services show up, betrayal. They take the Suave Prince, and the lady starts talking to her as a girl, calls her Margaret, and the prince is like, I'm not a girl. I don't call me that. Don't do this, and runs away. Gail Simone, being who she is, then has her show back up with him, and he takes her in because he realizes he made a mistake, and he needs to be who he is, and he needs to take responsibility for it. And they kind of cliffhangered the ending, and I don't think they continued it, and I'm very disappointed in that because this was a really good comic that I wanted to read more of. Did I sum it up, the main points of it?
No, you did. It you know what? I was shocked that it was over.
Yeah.
At 6 issues. I just assumed
it was a mini-series, and it was one of those, they floated the idea. They started it to see if it would gain traction. I guess nobody bought it, so that was all we got. And they do that a lot. And sometimes you get really good comics that just end up going nowhere. And it sucks because that was a good comic.
It really was. And again, I don't know why I was really shocked because I was expecting there to be more. And it's just too bad.
It is.
Of course, I didn't buy it when it came out, so I guess I'm partly to blame.
I don't buy comics, so I'm completely to blame. All of my comic book, this and that, comics. I go to the public library.
What?
It's free, yo. No, I read them from the library. Now, in fairness, I do pay for comics. I am on Marvel Unlimited, and I'm at the moment on DC, which I've only read that one arc, and I need to cancel that sucker unless you're going to present something. And now, I mean, I'll get it again when we need it, but I'm like, whoa, I should not pay for it another month because I ain't using it.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
I read Marvel Unlimited all the time, so I can duck in and out because it's actually cheaper to pay the whatever monthly fee to read something for a month than it is to actually go buy that comic if it's on there.
True. No, you're right. No, comic books have gotten incredibly expensive. When you think about it.
Yeah, especially when you think about how little they pay the writers and the artists.
Yes. Now standard, I think it's $3.99 a comic book.
Okay.
At least, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's just the way we read them. We generally read a graphic novel size thing. So if I wanted to buy those, it would be if I didn't get lucky, it's going to be at least $20.
Yeah.
And then I own it, which means it's collecting up space. I mean, you can get them, and I'd probably have to buy the actual hard copy medium instead of trying to buy it on. You can tend to get them used for less.
Yes.
So you don't have to pay quite as much, but you can't do that with the digital version. So if I were to buy the digital version of it, they're gonna charge full price. So it's that catch-22. Well, I don't have to keep it at my house or get rid of it, and I don't like getting rid of comic books. It's just that old.
As
thing.
somebody that has bought comic books on and off for a long time and accumulated way too many, it's a problem.
That's why
it's a serious. There's just and I keep on every year. I'm like, okay, this is the year I'm going to go through, find the core
and sell the rest
runs I want, or artists. Like, I'm going to keep all my Jack Kirby stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep my Justice League.
And you should.
Do you think I overrate certain, just certain runs that I really mean something to me, or not because they're worth anything? By the way, there probably are some in there that are worth something. Older, what?
I don't. For you, I don't think you overrate that Justice League one. I think you overrate almost every comic, but I don't think based on your scale, you don't overrate that.
Oh, thank you, Charles.
You're welcome. I just want to be clear. I don't think you overrate that in your scale. I do, because you're rating that based on your enjoyment. Some of the stuff you rate high, I really don't think you enjoy it. You tend to lie. You tend to lie. I'm good with you don't want to say things negative about stuff, and that's okay. It's just who you are. That's fine. I have no problem, because I don't think of it when I say, hey, this is not something for me, I don't like it. I don't think that's saying something bad about something. It's just, you cannot like something. It is okay. I mean, come on. Sometimes you don't like me that much.
That's not true. Although I was going to make a bad joke and just say, since we're being honest, I don't like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed that.
Which isn't true.
Yeah.
But I do want to, I find myself like the Eternals movie. I wanted to like that movie. I so wanted it to be better.
I did too.
And I want to try to find the good stuff in it.
Sure.
And it's just not there in much, in any amount.
The end scene was pretty good.
Yeah. There's some.
We had like a minute of good footage when Patton Oswalt's character showed up. I mean,
Star Fox.
Well, no, he was. That's not Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt played a Pug, not Pug.
Yeah, this little guy, not Pug, something.
Oh, something. Yeah.
Anyways, so hey, you hated Plastic Man, and you hate Gail Simone, and you hate female creators. Okay, so we're on the same page.
No, I won't yes and that. I refuse to yes and your real sexism. You know, the only way men are going to learn not to be sexist pigs is if other men will call them out for it. So thank you we set this up in the beginning. Hav is not a sexist pig. We set this up so I could model calling people out. See, that's your cover, you sexist motherfucker.
And I'm going to go with that. Because if there's one thing I'm known for, I am a, they know me at the strip club. I'm a regular.
Hey, going to the strip club is just supporting grad students and single mothers.
I like to talk to them. I'd like to just sit down. I had a friend of mine in my room. I'm not going to share. I had a friend of mine in college. He was convinced, he got into going to strip clubs there for a second towards the end of our career in college. And he was convinced one of the strippers liked him. And I was like, hey, man, so you pay like $20.
That's true.
A lap dance, right? That's why she's talking to you. He's like, no, but I think she really likes me. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's sweet. It was funny. Anyhow, I liked it. I was looking at Gail Simone's bibliography, I guess. Mm-hmm. I need to read more.
Yeah.
I've heard she's got a good run on Red Sonja.
Yeah, I haven't read that. I've thought about it. I've read her Birds of Prey, and we might read that soon. Oh, shit.
Birds of Prey, Secret Six, I've heard is good. She recently wrote. Yeah, she did enough Deadpool that she got name checked in Deadpool 2. Yep. I think I heard she got invited to the set at one point and got to meet and talk to Ryan Reynolds. And
yeah, and she just wrote a comic recently that I just read. That's Marvel. That's Jessica Jones. It's called Variants. It was really good. That was the thing I told you. Okay. I just read that I'm not going to suggest because we literally just read a Gail Simone, so I'm not going to suggest a Gail Simone because then I realized Birds of Prey, which we absolutely are going to have to read. So we're going to read some more Gail Simone because she's great. She is great.
Agree.
All right.
Oh, the guy with the D on his chest, by the way, was Degaton. I couldn't think of his name.
Okay.
Just one of the many DC bad guys that are out there.
Degaton.
That sounds like a bad guy from Supernatural.
Yeah, oh my god, yes, it does.
There was Mega. Wasn't there Mega? Anyways, not Mega.
Negasonic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Wait, I'm conflating things. Oh my god, I want to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie.
I do too.
We saw that trailer when I went to see the movie with Corbin, the Spider-Man, and I was like, oh my god. And he's like, yeah, I know. I was like, it's so fun to have I mean, he's 17 now, but when the final trailer came out for the Spider-Man movie, I could text it to him and go, oh my god, and he's like, oh my god. I just did the same thing with the Ahsoka. We're all capsing each other. I sent him the new Ahsoka trailer and said, oh boy, and he replied back in all caps, I'm so excited. I'm like, me too. Yay! Yeah. All right.
Are we getting towards
towards the time in which we discuss what we're going to read next.
Do you want to go first or you want me to?
Well, I have to pull it up. So you've got yours on your list. Why don't you tell us if you're ready?
I'm efforting.
Okay, well then I will
they
do
don't
mine.
say.
Okay,
Okay.
I will do mine. And this is a suggestion basically from Patrick. I don't know if he was suggesting it for us to read, but I downloaded it to read and I haven't done it yet. It is called Survival Street. It is on Hoopla. I will read you the synopsis. It's a Dark Horse comic. Survival Street is an unrepentant action satire tearing through a dystopia packed with economic and humanistic cautionary tales. Based on the cover, it's Sesame Street gone dystopia.
Interesting.
Yes. So he sent it to me. He said, this is good. It's fantasy teen dystopian. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And it's a short run. It's 4 comics. It's 1 through 4. It's 120 pages, but I hope it's fun because cool. I'm gonna blame Patrick if it's not. And
especially
hold on. It's always fun to get to blame family for shit.
That's true. It's also interesting. You said dystopian Sesame Street, but I accused you of always being into the dystopian stuff, and then it turned out you suggested 2 things.
Yeah,
or a thing.
Yeah, that was season 1. But remember, season 1 was still heavy COVID time, so everything was dystopian.
Yes.
The world was dystopian.
Yes. So I had been holding this back, but then I was about to rewatch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Uh-huh.
I still haven't rewatched it. I'm going to, because I just watched Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay.
Last night. I am suggesting New Avengers Illuminati from 2006. It's on Hoopla.
Okay. Interesting.
Have you read it?
Probably.
Have you read it?
Probably.
Okay. Brian Michael Bendis. I know we're both a fan. I read it when it came out. It's not terribly old, but it's been a little bit, and I'm curious.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've read some of the Illuminati stuff because that's where they get into. They're the group that sent Hulk into space.
Yes.
Is that in this?
Correct.
Because that's where we got the whole Planet Hulk thing. Have we? Oh, we haven't read Planet Hulk. We might read.
We have not read, and I liked Planet Hulk. I read that when it came out.
Yeah, it was pretty.
So
good.
yay!
Yeah.
And look, this was 150.
Yeah, we have reasonable. We have reasonable stuff.
I didn't suggest something that's 1,000 pages.
Yeah, it's 115 pages. New Avengers Illuminati issues 1 through 5. Excellent.
Well, and the collection on Hoopla, it starts out with New Avengers Illuminati, just a one-off, and then Illuminati 1 through 5.
Okay. That's fine. Well, it says it's 115 pages. It's not onerous.
I'm seeing 152. Interesting.
Really? Maybe I've got the wrong one. I've got screenshot that and send it to me offline. That's fine.
I will.
Yeah, let me make sure I got the one you're reading because I want to read the one you're reading. Okay. Well,
you're damn right.
No. Yeah, it would be very important. So,
okay. Yay!
Thank you very much for doing another podcast with me on this Saturday morning. I've enjoyed it. I want to apologize to everyone listening at home for the more than one dark turn this podcast took. I think we've worked our way out of our evidently doom and gloom.
Yeah.
We seem much more happy and upbeat now here at the end of it, but boy, howdy. So anyone listening to this that needs to, there are multiple resources online. If this podcast made you take a dark turn, feel free to reach out and contact them. There is nothing wrong with reaching out for help. And I am probably going to be having to do that when I listen to this editing it. So there is no shame at all. I sound like I'm making a joke about this, but surely there is no shame. So,
no.
But thank you all for joining us on this. And thank you, Hav.
Thank you, Charles, for, again, like I say, and I mean it, the heavy lifting, the editing, the production, everything. Thanks for doing the podcast with me. Thanks to everybody for listening. Bye.
Bye. Ha! Said bye last.